What's up everyone, this is Nico from Limitless, and today we will be taking a look at the Turtonator deck that got second place at Fort Wayne Regionals last week. The deck is originally from Rahul, so you could say he made the deck quite ready for the tournament, because everyone that played the deck got at least some championship points out of the tournament. Ryan Sablehouse got to top 16, and Rahul Reddy and Kite Sablehouse managed to get to top 128. And of course, Sam Chen managed to grab a second place, just falling short to Michael Premavet in finals, who secured his 6th regional win in his career with this win, which is insane if you ask me. But Sam Chen for himself has also been quite on fire the past few months. He got first place at the Seattle Regionals in May, got top 4 at the International Championships in Indianapolis, and top 8 at the World Championships in Anaheim, and of course second place in Fort Wayne, which is very good if you ask me. So yeah, without further ado, let's go into the deck list. And yeah, of course, we have our main attacker. We have Turtonator GX, 190 HP, which is the same amount of Lapras, but still more than the usual GX basics have. Then we have our first attack is Shell Trap, which does 20 damage, and if the opponent attacks Turtonator the next turn, then you get to put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon, which is especially good against Night March in Expanded. Then, next up, Bright Flame, 160 damage for 3 energies and discard 2 energies. Discarding energies is absolutely no problem in this deck, which is exactly what makes Turtonator so strong. And we also have some kind of damage boost, so we aren't stuck with 160 HP. We can deal 180, 210, and even 240, and even 270 damage. So yeah, that's pretty much enough to get rid of anything, especially since the most relevant decks in Expanded are Darkrai and Night March, and obviously Bright Flame is definitely enough to knock out a Night Marcher, and with Muscle Band or one Volcanion EX, it's also enough to knock out a Darkrai. Then the GX attack is Nitro Tank GX, which yeah, is a nice attack in this deck, because you usually get to benefit from it a lot, because you discard a lot of fire energies, and if it's in the early game or in the late game, Nitro Tank just gets you 5 energies into play, which is very good, as I already said, especially because Turtonator discards energies. Next up, we have our baby Volcanion. Yeah, the usual support Pokemon. Power Heater, 20 damage, choose 2 of your bench Pokemon, attach fire energies to both of them. Well, most people should know this card, because Volcanion has been around for the past year and nothing changed too much about this Pokemon. Still attaches energies for some damage. Next up, we obviously have Volcanion EX, which I already talked about when it came to damage boosts, because Steam Up lets us discard a fire energy, and all of our basic fire Pokemon attacks deal 30 more damage, and Volcanic Heat 130 damage, and this Pokemon can't attack during next turn. This is not too relevant, because most likely we will attack with Turtonator every turn, since this is our main attacker. Attacker that we have is Ho-Oh GX, which also has 190 HP. Sacred Fire lets us snipe 50 damage, Phoenix Burn 180 damage, and Eternal Flame is completely irrelevant in this deck. But Phoenix Burn is very nice, especially against Greninja or Seismitoad, because Ho-Oh doesn't have a water weakness, but still gets to one-shot Greninja Breaks or Seismitoad EX without a Fighting Fury Belt. So this is very good against these matchups. So then we have Shaman EX. Obviously not standard legal anymore, but in Expanded it's still a very strong card. Lets us draw to up to 6 cards in our hand, and yeah, just helps to get some speed into the early turns especially. Then we have one Tapu Lele, which lets us search our supporters, which is actually very relevant in this deck, because the deck runs a lot of one-off supporters, and that's very unlikely to draw into them with Shaman, so Tapu Lele, very nice. and we will also see some other cards that help us to get one of supporters, but we will get later to them. So for our supporters, we have for Juniper or Sycamore, whichever card you prefer in Expanded. Just lets us draw, discard our hand, draw 7 cards. Nothing changed in this card since 2011 or when it was released, so everyone should know this card, or at least the concept of the card since Sycamore. Then we have 3 Blacksmith. As I said, we don't really struggle with discarding energies because Blacksmith let us attach them again to our Pokemon, because we can attach 2 fire energies from a discard pile to one of our Pokemon. Doesn't have to be active or benched, we can just choose whatever Pokemon we want. Now, these are the only supporters we run more than one time, and yeah, let's get into our one-off supporters. First off, we have N, has also been around since he got released, still a very good card, especially in the late game to disrupt our opponent. Then we have Kiave, which is pretty much the opposite of N. It's very good, or most likely only useful in the first turn, or at least in the early game. Lets us attach 4 cards to one of our Pokemon, which is very strong, but the downside of the supporter card is that our turn ends. So usually what you want to do is use a turn 1, attach energies to Turtonator, and then you're pretty much fine, because especially if you go first, you won't be able to attack anyway, so we don't get disrupted too much from losing a turn. Oh, we actually don't lose a turn, we just lose an attack. Then next up we have 1 Karen. This card is insanely strong against Night Mage and Vespiquen, and these decks are still relevant and expanded, especially Night March. So yeah, 1 Karen. Then we have 1 Guzma. I don't think there's a lot I have to talk about this card, because Lysan has been around since he got released. Now we have Guzma, which is even better in most situations, because you get to switch as well. Then we have 1 Colress, which is a very strong draw card in Expanded, but it's not too good in our starting hand, so only 1 is definitely enough, because you can just Verse Seeker for it if you need it again, but most likely will be using Blacksmith anyways, or Guzma. So yeah, but Colress lets us draw the same number of bench Pokemon in play, which gets us up to 16 if Skyfield is in play, but obviously we don't run Skyfield, so we would have to play against the Skyfield deck, but it's still something to keep in mind. And last but not least, as a roller, lets us put 1 Pokemon with damage on it back into our hand, and all cards attached to it, which is the big difference to AZ, because with AZ you had to discard everything. Yeah. These are our supporter cards. We only have 1 Stadium, but 3 copies of it, which is Scorch Earth. Discard a fire energy, draw 2 cards. Pretty simple. Then for Verse Seeker, for Ultra Ball, just classic. Almost no deck that runs it any difference, unless it just doesn't benefit your strategy or something. Then 1 Field Blower, discarding tools, especially fighting Fury Belt or Float Zones or whatever it is attached to Garbodor, to be able to use our abilities again. Then 2 Battle Compressor, lets us discard our one-off supporters to reuse them with Verse Seeker, and also lets us discard fire energies for Blacksmith, very strong. Our Ace Pack, Computer Search, lets us search any card we want for a discard of 2 cards. We can discard energies again, discard supporters, discard Pokemon we don't need, and just grab whatever we want. And for our tools we have 2 Muscle Band and 2 Floatstone. Muscle Band, it's pretty much Choice Band, but on everything and with 10 less damage, so yeah, 20 on everything. And yeah, Floatstone, Free Retreat, especially good with Volcanic Heat if we ever have to use it. And last but not least, 16 fire energies. Yeah, it's a lot more than most decks run, but yeah, as you could see, a lot of cards discard energies, and we definitely want to have a lot of energies, and we don't want to miss energies, so running 16 is definitely the right approach. And yeah, that's pretty much our deck list, and with I don't want to bore you anymore, so let's get into our games and see some action. So in our first game we are up against Night March, and as you could see we are able to go first, and we also managed to start with Big Canyon, which is very nice because it helps us to power up some attackers early on, and it's also able to get knockouts onto the Night March Pokemon. So we just bench everything, discard our parents, so we can reuse the Reverse Seeker, and that's pretty much everything for our first turn. And now it depends on how many resources our opponent has to use to discard his Night Marcher, because if he has to use a lot, then Karen becomes a lot stronger than if he has like Sycamore for 6 Night Marchers, because then Karen pretty much doesn't benefit us at all because he gets to keep all his Battle Compressors. But there we see, first Battle Compressor is gone, Ultra Ball also gone. So yeah, right now it really depends on how much he has to use. There we also see a Shaman for some cards, another Ultra Ball, which is not too good because right now he only used 1 Battle Compressor and yeah, 2 Ultra Balls, but Battle Compressor is like a lot better against Karen. So yeah, he has still 3 in there and all of his puzzle, but there we see another Battle Compressor is gone. Still doesn't have quite enough damage to knock out Volcanion, still missing 10 damage, so he definitely has to discard some Night Marcher. And yeah, there we see, now he definitely has enough Night Marcher, it's 8, so 160, and also his Computer Search probably going to use this one for a DCE. And yeah, right now, oh, but there he actually discarded the Puzzle of Time, so that's very good. But of course he gets the knockout, so Turtonator has to go in. But thanks to Muscle Band, we don't even have to use a Steam Up. Yeah, right there I just decided to discard our Ho-Oh, grabbing the last Turtonator from our deck, using Shaman because our hand is not too good and just Sycamoring is like not exactly what we want to do. So yeah, getting a little bit of board position pretty much. Using another Shaman because we want to use Karen, obviously. We managed to get the Versiga. He has to shuffle in all his Night Marcher, we get the knockout. And he doesn't even have another Night Marcher in play. That's very good for us. But that also means that if he has Guzma, he can basically just switch away our Shell Trap. Gets back his DCE. And obviously has a Burst Seeker, uses Sycamore, floats on attached to Turbolene, so right there he is probably hoping to get some Battle Compressors. There's 1. But I'm pretty sure that means he has 3 gone, yeah. So he only has 1 Battle Compressor left and 3 puzzle. So basically 4 Battle Compressors if he uses his puzzles right. Dimension Valley, but as we can see, he won't be able to use Night March this turn since he attached the DC to Shaman, because he doesn't want to get the Shell Trap damage, and with Shaman he's able to damage our Turtonator, but on the other hand not get knocked out from Shell Trap. But yeah, we're pretty much just going to use Shell Trap this turn again. We have Versica in hand next turn for another Karen if he manages to get enough Night Marcher to get the knockout on Turtonator, which he should be able to, because as we saw last turn he was already able to deal 30 damage, so that's only 8 Night Marcher. That's a lot easier than needing to have 10 in this card. So yeah, there we see his puzzle. probably going to be for a 2 Battle Compressor or Battle Compressor and a Puzzle of Time if he has another puzzle. Looks like he has. So yeah. As we can see, he only needs 2 more Night Marcher, which he definitely will get with Battle Compressor. But as we see, he plays Ranger actually, which Michael Probabit of course also did, because it's very good against Shell Trap. You can just get rid of the effect. There we can see we still don't have another Karen. So without Karen the matchup is actually pretty tough. But if we are able to get our Karen this turn, we should be in a very, very good spot to win the game. And as we can see, we have enough resources left to reuse Karen. So right there we will get Blacksmith and just pretty much hope that we have resources to get a knockout next turn, because yeah, Bright Flame, knockout onto Taurus, we get a Verse Seeker and Energy, so he definitely has to add us if he wants to stay in the game. Even the sped up game is taking him quite some time to choose his Battle Compressor targets, even though he only has 12 cards in deck. But yeah, it's one of the last turns of the game, so he definitely wants to consider all his options, but he decides to only discard a Marshadow. Benches Oran Guru. And yeah, him attaching DC pretty much means that he won't be able to win the game anymore, since we have First Seeker for Blacksmith. Oh, but yeah, we will just be able to attach an energy to our Lele. We actually got another Blacksmith, so yeah, we will just be able to take the last knockout to win the game. So our second game is actually against a pretty similar deck, but it's against Vespiquen Night March, which I think is quite interesting to compare to regular Night March, because Vespiquen has much more options to get Pokemon into discard, because obviously you have Unknown, which discards himself, and then you also have Sycamore, where you just have a big hand of Pokemon, because you play so many. So once you are out of like Battle Compressors to use Night March, Vespiquen might actually be the way to win the matchup, but we have to see. Our starting hand is yeah, we have a supporter, but other than that our starting hand is not looking too good. We don't have Turtonator or Baby Volcanion start, so we definitely have to get a Floatstone or some way to switch, or just hope that he doesn't get the knockout. But as we can see, he already discards a lot of Pokemon, so yeah, not too good for us. But as we can see, we have all the cards we need to be able to switch. Right now it's our goal is to get a second Volcanion and another Fire Energy, because this way we will be able to deal 80 damage to Pumpkaboo. So even if our opponent gets a knockout on Volcanion the next turn, we will be able, thanks to Field Blower, to get a knockout in our turn, and also attack, which allows us to not fall behind in the matchup actually. So right there we see power 80 for 80. Don't get a knockout, but get energies to Turtonator and to Volcanion. We have a Blacksmith in hand if we want to use it the next turn. As we can see, he already has 2 puzzles gone and a Battle Compressor gone. So, and there we see another puzzle. So, and since he only has 1 Battle Compressor, he can't get 2. So all of his puzzles are gone. So we basically only have to get rid of his remaining Battle Compressors and Karen him once, and we pretty much win the game just from that point. So yeah, And also the 80 damage allows us to get a knockout with Turtonator's Shell Trap without needing a Steam Up or Muscle Band. So that's also nice, but right there, yeah, we just bench everything so that we can use Colors next turn. And even if he answers, we still draw 5 cards, so we're in a very good spot. Unless, obviously, he pulls up some shenanigans where our Turtonator doesn't get us any value, but that's very unlikely, especially because he has, as I said, all of his puzzles gone. Compressors will be gone soon, probably, because if he decides to attack with best when he needs much more Pokemon, obviously he's going to use Joystick this turn. But he still grabs another unknown. Oh, yeah, he wants to use Pamgubo, and he actually has an escape rope, so he gets around our Shell Trap. But checking his discard showed me that he right now doesn't have enough Pokemon to get rid of Turtonator. So I promoted Turtonator because it only gets knocked off if he uses more Battle Compressor, and if he uses more Battle Compressor, Karen is just our game winner. So even if he gets the knockout on Turtonator this turn, it wouldn't be too bad, because we could just, yeah, still use Karen in the late game or even the next turn to win us the game. But he actually decides to make Battle Compressor for some reason and deal 140. I don't know if his prizes are super bad or whatever his reasoning behind this one was, but that's actually one of the worst plays you could make, because discarding Battle Compressor against a deck that plays Karen is absolutely stupid. Let's just say it how it is. I decided to use Nitro Tank because, yeah, Turtonator was stuck active anyways, and by using our GX attack this turn, we pretty much are in a spot where we can't lose if we get to Karen next turn. And as you can see, we have Tapu Lele, so if we don't get End, we'll just Tapu Lele for for Karen and win the game by this. Our opponent was able to get the Dimension Valley, gets the Flying Fury Belt, he's able to grab the knockout, but at this point there's not actually a way for him to win, because, yeah, Tapu Lele will just be used for Karen, and after I grab the knockout on Pamkubu, it's pretty much over. It was over before I got the knockout on Pamkubu, and yeah, right now he doesn't have any single Pokemon left in this card, doesn't have any Battle Compressors, any Puzzle of Time. He even milled his Ultra Balls with Battle Compressors, so yeah, 4 Ultra Balls gone, 4 Battle Compressor gone, 4 Puzzle of Time gone. He only has Sycamore left, and even if he would have Sycamore and only Pokemon, it would be 5 Pokemon, which is not enough. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, even though both games were against Night March, but since Fort Wayne Regionals is already over and Bilbao is still not the next big European tournament, it was very hard to find decent games, because basically every game I played was against either Night March or Trevenant. And yeah, Trevenant is super boring, because if he gets like his setup, you just most of the time lose, and if you get a setup, they lose. So yeah, I didn't want to show you these kind of games, and unfortunately I wasn't able to play against Darkrai, but yeah, I hope you still enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.